Hey, welcome to Crizzy Books. I'm Crizzy or Criz, but only my homeboys call me Criz. And today I'm going to be talking about No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. Set in the 1980s on the Texas and Mexico border, who discovers the aftermath of a big drug deal gone wrong. There's bodies and drugs and blood and guns everywhere. There's also a briefcase with $2 million inside of it. Moss decides to take the money, which sparks a deadly pursuit. Anton Chigurh, who is a mysterious and Terminator-esque killer, hunts Moss to retrieve the money for the cartel that he works for. We also have a sheriff named Ed Tom, who is an aging lawman. He is trying to find and protect Moss, and also providing a more philosophical edge to the book, often reflecting on the moral decay that he sees in modern society. This is the story of violence and the ever-increasing hopelessness and nihilism in the modern world. And I gotta say, I really loved this book. I thought it was fantastic. As a longtime reader of Cormac McCarthy and a longtime fan of the movie No Country for Old Men, I've been meaning to get around to this for a while, and I finally did, and I'm glad that I did, because I think that this is one of the great American novels, especially one of the best modern westerns in American literature that I've had the pleasure of reading. But let's get into what I liked. So the writing, obviously, if you are a fan of McCarthy's writing like I am, you're familiar with the way that he writes. It's simple. It's effective. There's no fluff. He's giving you exactly the right amount of information to set the scene perfectly. And this story is incredibly straightforward, and he keeps it simple and grounded. It really is just man finds cartel money, man takes cartel money, man is then pursued by cartel. Which is going to lead us into the characters, because the premise of this is so simple, the characters are what really shine here. Anton Chigurh. One of McCarthy's most terrifying characters. He represents a lot of things like inevitability, fate, unstoppable violence. He's such an interesting character because he appears to be incredibly uncaring and soulless in the way that he almost robotically kills people to achieve whatever goal he's trying to achieve. But when he speaks, that's where he really shines, and where his character is really just becomes larger than the book, for me at least. Every time he talks, I was incredibly locked in. Every time he spoke, every conversation that he had, I was hyper-focused. Which doesn't happen very often. I found this character to be amazing, truly. And something that I thought was so interesting about him, again, like his robotic nature and the way that he just murders without regard, it feels. When he starts to talk, you see that he actually does seem to have his own philosophy, his own personal idea of right and wrong and what he believes, and that how he operates and carries out his business follows that, which is very interesting. He is the embodiment of the idea of, like, I'm the main character, or you are the god of your own reality, which is a theme I've seen in other McCarthy books that I've read. He is very much in that same vein of violence is the answer. I control reality. Nothing else is real except for what I want. He really does have this kind of otherworldly almost feeling to him. Like, he cannot be stopped. There is nothing you can do to stop him, and he will find you, and he will kill you in the end. Yeah, just one of the best characters, literary characters that I've ever had the pleasure of reading. I thought that this character was incredible. I loved him. Sheriff Bell, kind of the moral center of the novel. He is like the yin to Chigurh's yang almost, even though they really never cross paths. One of the things I loved about this character throughout it, for at the beginning of most chapters, he would go on this monologue, giving his kind of thoughts about the modern world. He's very much disillusioned as an old lawman. Growing up in a post-war America, he talks about, the hope and the idea of like utopia on the horizon, and things seemed to be going really well. And now, 40, 50 years later, how much things have devolved. I found those monologues to be just so great, and just a great counter to a lot of the violence that takes place, or at least getting this perspective from a guy who seems to be just a good man who became a cop because his father was, who now is wondering why he does it at all anymore, because there seems to just be so much like morality is dying in America, and he has watched that happen, and he doesn't recognize this place anymore that he has felt obligated to serve and protect. And I think that that's a really interesting perspective too. It's not something you see very often, a police perspective. Usually, we love our police propaganda here in America, and cops are usually portrayed as like 100% pure action movie badass, and you don't really get to see that side of a police officer who experiences such horrible things that people do to each other, and how that can affect them and maybe bring on a sense of apathy or even anger, where the world is not what you thought it was. Yeah, I thought that Bell was, while not a super centrally involved with the actual like cat and mouse of what this book is about, still a really great perspective. Finally, Llewellyn, our other main character, a really great counter to Shigure, and I think that he's the everyman to the book, asking yourself the question, what would you do if you found a briefcase full of $2 million? Do you take it or do you turn it in? I think I know what I'd do. He seems to know that this is a losing game. It was fun to watch him be so capable, and usually one step ahead of Shigure, even if just for a little bit. To watch him try and get out of this mess is thrilling and really great. I thought that he was also an interesting character because he doesn't provide really any type of philosophical insight. It seems to be just this idea of, I am stuck in this crap situation economically. I want out of it, and now I found it, and so I'd rather take that and die trying than to not. And I think that that's a really interesting character motivation because it's so simple. The themes of it, there are several you could probably pull from. Fate versus free will is a big one. Morality, obviously, and the decay of morality. What does morality even mean from me to you? And really just the erosion of traditional values in the modern age. If you can't tell, I loved this book. I thought it was fantastic. If you want my final ranking, you can skip ahead. I'll have it timestamped down below. But for now, I'm going to get into spoiler talk. So if you are unfamiliar with this story and don't want to get spoiled, now is your time to leave. Okay. All right. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about when it comes to spoilers for this book. There are, however, some characters in this that I would like to talk about. Wells being one. He was a great side character. Unfortunately, just not in the book for as long as I would have wanted him to. I love how he finds Moss like immediately and is like, hey, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know who you're getting into. You don't understand Shigure. I've run into this guy before. You need to stop now. And then eventually Shigure finds him. And I loved their conversation, and how Wells is like immediately like, whatever, get this over with. Let's go. And Shigure wants to like have a little philosophical chat with him and talk to him. He's just like, will you please just shut up and kill me already? He understands what's happening, and he was just a fun character. I just loved the way that he talked and the way that he carried himself. He was really great. The coin scene as well at the beginning with Shigure and the gas station owner. It's awesome. It's so good. I mean, there's a reason why it was adapted pretty much word for word in the movie, because, like, what do you need to change about this? There's nothing. It's perfect. It's amazing. I just loved it. I talked before about how every time Shigur talked, I was locked in. This was like the pinnacle of that. I love the ending too, because it is basically everything that Sheriff Bell's been talking about this whole book. Like, that's what happens. Moss gets killed off page by Shigur. Shigur takes the briefcase. He makes it out alive somehow. And then he moves on to go and find Moss's wife, who he does a coin flip with and ends up killing her as well. There is no justice. There is no peace. There is no resolution. There are no happy endings. This world is dark and uncaring, and that's like the moral of the story. It's dark and depressing and sad, but like so realistic of just like, yeah, nobody wins. At least none of the good guys win. That's not going to happen. And Ed Tom's totally right about everything that is going on around him. I love that bleakness. I don't know why. Overall, I gave No Country for Old Men a 5 out of 5. I think that this is a perfect book. It is brutal. It is relentless. For my money, the best modern Western story that I've read so far. I think it's a true classic in every sense of the word, and it just further cements Cormac McCarthy as like the greatest author that I've ever read. I could not recommend this book enough. If you have not read it, you should. It's really great. But what do you think? Have you read No Country for Old Men? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you are on Goodreads or Fable, I'm on both. You can follow me there to see what I'm reading now, what I plan on reading, my infinite to-be-read list, all that good stuff. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.